Yes, boys, we're back with another video. And today I want to share with you how I've been finding a lot more purpose in my work, in my life, been finding a bit more meaning in what I do. And yeah, I just want to share with you the journey that I've been on, how I actually got to where I am now, where I feel a lot more purposeful in life. Whereas a few months back, I felt like I had no reason to live. Like, in all truthfulness, I just was completely darkened. This year was genuinely like the roughest year of my life. Like, it started off so good. January, February, so good. And then March rolled around and it started like fading and I started falling. I started, just spiraling out of control. And it really came down to I had no purpose in life. I didn't know what I was living for. Why was I doing anything I did? And I had a lot of selfish ambition disguised as good ambition. I was growing my business, and there's nothing wrong with wanting to grow your business. There's nothing wrong with wanting to make more money. There's nothing wrong with any of that. There's nothing wrong with it. If you want to make 10, 20, 50K a month, go for it. But the problem is, I had a lot of dark reasons I wanted money. I had a lot of trauma that I was running from. I had a lot of reasons and emotional wounds that I hadn't processed that were really the ones in the driver's seat and the ones pushing me forward, though I didn't know it. I thought it was that, I want to provide for my family. And yeah, like, that's truthful. I do. But that wasn't my why. That wasn't the true why of why I was doing it. The real why was that I was running from something that had happened to me that I just felt if I just kept running and I did what I thought would get me out of that situation, it would all be fixed. But actually, the more I ran, and the more I achieved, the more I realized that nothing was fixing or alleviating that pain. In fact, it was amplifying it. And I fell in deep to smoking weed, and I fell deep into vices. Everything, man. I just had a huge spiral. And, during like April and May, like, it was genuinely probably the hardest months of my life. It was so dark, man. It was so dark, especially April. Like, I just had lost the reason to live. Like, I didn't know why I was living. And it's hard when, you're talking to people and your family and, like, they're saying within good reason. Like, they're saying, but Jacob, look, your business is going well. Like, you've been on holiday and, you're treating, all these things. And, like, that stuff is all great. But, like, internally, when you're darkened and that stuff doesn't mean anything because you're in so much, like, internal pain. You're in so much internal conflict. And it's like, I was struggling to even feel gratitude. Like, it was so hard for me to even say prayers of thanksgiving because I was just so darkened, man. I felt depressed. I don't really like using that word, but I felt depressed and I had symptoms of depression, sleeping in, eating junk food, vices. And I really thought there was no way out. Like, I really thought I was just going to be stuck like that forever. There were times I remember it was a sunny day and I would be sat in my garden. And I was like, man, like, there were just thoughts in my head of just like, I don't want to live anymore. Like, I just want to die. And I was just getting tormented by those thoughts, and they'd never been that bad. Like, I've had those thoughts before, but it was never as bad as it was, man. And I had a health coach at the time, and, the clergy at the church really was helpful. But, I was working closely with a health coach who was helping me really, like, unravel my past, unravel moments in my life where I'd, like, just emotionally shut down. And I just kind of pushed that pain to the side. Like, the best way I can say it, let's grab the Bible, right? Just because I take this out of frame doesn't mean this Bible ceases to exist. It's still there. I'm still in my hand, but you can't see it. It was the same with my pain. I would just put it away. And, like, just because it's not there doesn't mean it's not there, if you know what I mean. Just because I've pushed it, it's still not affecting me. And I had a lot of breakthroughs with that, with my health coach, like, just being able to bring that pain to the top and, feel what I was meant to feel in that moment. The helplessness, the abandonment, the feeling of not being loved, the feeling of being all under the sun, And, as I started working through it, it did get worse. It really made my heart hurt. I remember there was times I was walking around and it felt like I was a naked man and my heart was on show for everyone to see. And I just could feel that my heart had been cut into pieces. And I was very like vulnerable at the time, you know, during this time. And I remember like I went sparring. It was my first sparring session back, and it was really in the depth of when this was all happening. And my health coach said, I'm surprised you went sparring. You put yourself in this really like, you know, aggressive environment while you're very wounded and you're in a delicate situation. I just remember I hated myself after that sparring session, man, because I was like, it just made me feel like such a pussy, like, because I was just on the back foot. I was scared, and that's just really was how I was feeling deep down anyway. I just felt so attacked by life. And but over time, you know, like, even though it did get worse, it had to happen. I had to go experience all this. You know, I cut out the weed, I cut it off, and I said no more. And, you know, I started, like, it all came to the surface, like, it all just came up, and I had to just firm it. There were days where it was so hard to even get out of bed. It was so hard to even go to the gym. But, like, I just had to sit with the pain. I couldn't escape it. I just had to face it. And, you know, I really wanted to get back posting on these YouTube videos. I really wanted to, because I remember, like, last year, these gave me so much purpose, you know. I just felt like I was doing something better with my life. I felt like I was really making an impact. And, you know, I did a lot of reflecting, I did a lot of thinking, and, you know, as the weeks went by, as I really started to get better, and, you know, I really was overcoming the weed vices. I haven't even smoked weed in like nearly a month now. And I haven't been on the hub for like 3 weeks. And back then that seemed impossible. Like, it really seemed impossible. But it's because I was able to look at the pain that had me chained down. And by the grace of God, the healer, the giver of life, he lightened that burden, and I was able to give it to him. Like, just take it, God, you know? And it was a painful thing. Change isn't a passive thing. It takes effort. It's going to hurt. You're probably going to cry. You're going to get angry. You're going to feel resentful. You're going to feel all these different emotions. You know, there were some days where I felt like I felt every emotion under the sun. Joyful, hope, hate, anger, resentment, despair. Like, within the 12 hours I was awake, like, I would feel every one of those. And it was like I was just a ping pong ball, just being... But, like, that was just part of the process. It was just part of the process. And now it's like, I feel like I found a lot more meaning, because I'm like, now that I'm past that stage and I've gone through it and I've learned all the lessons that I've learned from there, now it's like, I make these videos for that kid who was in the same situation I was in. I make it for the person who's watching this. You might be 19, 18, 25, 30, addicted to weed, addicted to drugs, addicted to porn. You hate your life. You feel like there's no meaning. There's not a reason to live. You've got suicidal thoughts. And that is who I work for now. Like, when I'm in the gym, you know, today I was doing a back workout and I'm exhausted, guys. Like, I'm tired. Like, you know, you work out, you have these days where you're exhausted. I woke up today feeling a bit under the weather, a bit anxious, underlying anxiety. You know, it happens. But in the back of my mind, I was like, Jacob, man, have that integrity. Like, you're not doing this for yourself. You're doing it for that kid who's watching, who's in despair. He doesn't see the light. But maybe, you know, you do your workout that gives you authentic inspiration, authentic stories and messages that will resonate with them, that perhaps maybe just one of these viewers might see this and go, I can do this. I can get through this dark days. I should go to the gym. Let me give life one more chance. Because I'm so blessed to have 2 really good friends, my health coach, and I understand that some people don't have that. Some people don't have that friend to call them up and to check in with them and to see how they're actually doing. Some people don't have that friend who's going to knock on their door and force them out to go on a walk, who's going to ring them and say, you're not staying inside, you're coming out for a run. Even though, you know, you're in a dark place and you have no motivation, but they drag you. And I understand that some people don't have that. And, like, that's a huge blessing from God that I cannot take for granted. And those friends helped me so much through this. So much. Went above and beyond for me. You know, in the times where I was just chronically smoking weed. Oh, I'm going to stop smoking weed by 100%. But they didn't give up on me. And that's why I make these videos. It's like, I just hope that this can inspire someone who's maybe on the edge. They've lost hope. Because I know what it feels like to be there in your room, feeling like you're abandoned, you have no love, no one cares for you. You know, I had it when I was like 18, 19. I just felt like I had no one. My family relationships were bad. Like, I had no friends. I was bullied in school. I was bullied in college. Like, socially anxious. would cry myself to sleep, all these things, man. But it's like, if I can just, one video, just talk to someone and inspire them to go, I'm just going to keep going. I have that idea. I have that business idea. I want to make music. I want to do something with my life. And if they see a video that maybe even just adds a little spark to their flame, that makes them just get up and go to the gym and believe they can change and that they can get out this hole. That's why I do this now. Like, that's my purpose right now, is to just put myself through the suffering. When I get tempted, not to fall into it, so I can have the integrity on these videos to say, guys, you can get through it. You can do this. And the lessons I learn when I'm overcoming temptations, or when I'm battling Satan himself, you know, and what I learn from there, I can come share it on here and hopefully inspire someone to go, I'm gonna try to beat the temptation today. I'm not gonna go on the hub today. I'm gonna try to beat it one day at a time. I'm just gonna get up. I'm gonna go pray. I'm gonna go, you know. And that's something worth living for me. That's something that is worth living for, because I speak for men here. Men's mental health is Men's Mental Health Awareness Month, right? We're so misunderstood. It's so hard to know how we're meant to live as men. Like, what is our role in life? We've lost it. You look one side and it's the feminization of men. You look on the other side, it's the complete prideful masculinity. And it's so hard to know what to do and where to be and how can we find meaning. And it is hard. But I thank God every day that it's hard, because it's through the hardships we learn. It's through our failures that we come out stronger. It's all these things that we think are the end of the world that eventually turn into the greatest thing. You know, Romans 8:18 is it, where it says the pain you're going through now is nothing compared to the joy that is to come. And that was something that got me through these dark days. Those were the things I was thinking about when it was like the darkest days. And I was just like, I know this will pass, but I don't see it. And Psalms 22 helped me so much. My God, why have you forsaken me? Why are you so far from helping me? What Christ said on the cross. And that just reminded me that he was there. Like, even though I couldn't feel him and he wasn't like within my awareness and I couldn't always, know he was there. That verse just reminded me he is there. He's there. Glory to God. I pray you are all well. And if you are struggling, speak to someone. You're stronger than you believe. You are stronger than you think. You truly are. You truly are. You can do it, bruv. You can do it. You can get to the other side. Take joys in these trials, because there is something good that is on the way. And I promise you that, bro. And I can only speak from my own experience, but I can promise you that from my own experience, that even though you might be in a dark time right now, there is a light coming and it's already there. You just need to open your eyes to it. Glory to God. I hope you're all well and have a good day.